sorry about that, y'all. We had
I
technical.
knew I kept seeing the monitor moving. That's why I said, damn, we got to be still recording.
No, it's gone. It's gone now.
Yeah, he took it off. All right. Hey, we made it back, had a few technical difficulties, and now we back ready.
Yeah.
And we're going to get on with this conversation we were having. We're sorry about that inconvenience, and we'll make it better. All right, so now, the infamous Sylvia was talking, and I don't know how much y'all heard, so we're gonna ask her, could she repeat that cycle that she was on, and we're gonna be off and running. All right, so get your ears and your eyes ready for the infamous Sylvia.
All right, guys. Hey, everybody. I was talking about what happened this week during the testimony of, well, it was last week, right?
Look at my.
It was last week. Can you hear me?
There you go.
Last week's testimony of Viverino. I can't.
Viverito.
Viverito. Where she was insinuating that you were left in the home and they left certain items behind. And one of the items is the same famous watch that happened to disappear. But in the forfeiture reporting that they request when they were requesting the seizure from the judge, the listing of it was like 87 items, and one of the 2 items was the watch. So, and she signed off on it.
Yeah.
She signed off on it stating basically that these items were here, and so, but now on the stand, she's made it insinuated that she left it behind, and basically you or the other gentleman, Garfield, was in the home and insinuating that one of you guys must have it.
Yeah.
So, so that's what one of the things I was concerned about, and I know you came to the court to address it to hear if she was going to repeat it again, but
no, I came to address it, whether she repeated it or not. I wanted to address it, so I'm gonna make that known now. But I'm gonna address it on this show.
Tell it.
So you can continue.
So the thing is, my thoughts is, if supposedly you inventory these items, why would you leave it with somebody?
That's right. That means you took it if you inventoried it.
Yeah. You inventory it because you're taking all these items with you because you're seasoned, and they want to take that money. They want to make money off of it so they could supposedly pay the debt for the supposedly wrong.
No, they're not trying to make money off of it to pay for this trial. This trial is being paid for by us. They took the jewelry and anything else that they took out of the house that they think people are not aware of for their personal gain because they really felt like it wasn't going to have to be returned. We're going to call a spade a damn spade. You know what I'm saying? And what I want her to come in on is let's go past the jury.
Okay.
Let's get past the jury. Let's talk about the situation at hand. Let's talk about this bullshit search and seizure that they did. All right? Which started at roughly around 2 o'clock that afternoon when they first went in the house to arrest them. All right? To where we had a damn officer put a gun to my goddamn 14-year-old grandson's head as they slammed him on the floor.
What?
Okay, let's talk about that. That should be on body cam. All right? Let's talk about how they took all of the young man, Jimmy, what's his name? Roscoe. How they took Roscoe's medication and poured it out of all of his bottles into a bag and charged my child with the Georgia Controlled Substance Act.
Wow.
Okay, these are the things that wasn't brought up because we didn't take it on through the trial. All right, let's talk about how they took the medication and poured it in a bag, but they dumbasses left all the containers on the counter. All his prescription bottles on the counter. Let's talk about that. Let's talk why we're not speaking on the money that they took out the house. You know, why we're not talking about that? You know, this shit is bigger than a watch. You know, what about all the other things that they took out the house? You know, what about when they was in so much of a rush after they got the Lamborghini out the garage, and then put the three-wheeler on the back of the tow bed with the Lamborghini, and they were so quick to want to rush away from the house because we know they had other things that they had taken out of the house that wasn't recorded, that wasn't documented and inventoried, and they was in so much of a rush to leave. They was in so much of a rush to leave till their asses left the damn evidence kit. To where I had to catch the last officer pulling up out of the street and give him the evidence kit. Let you know if she want to talk about, if she want to call a spade, let's call a spade. Let's talk about how she shouldn't even have been at the house trying to make an arrest, period, because she wasn't post-certified. Let's talk about that. You know, let's put it out there. You know, let's talk about the things you left with Mr. Williams. How about the four fired actions that you have faced from being in law enforcement? Let's talk about her being admonished as in DA. How you go from a DA from 1 year and you at the Atlanta Police Department the next year. You know, you're doing something else the next year. You know, what is the purpose of all this moving around with her? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, you know, are you working on the cover? Or are you working in the covers? You know, let's talk. We gonna speak on something. Let's speak on everything.
Not in the covers.
See, somebody need to tell Marissa Viverita that Big Jeff is the type of person that if you gonna try to tell something on him, you better tell everything, because he gonna tell it just like it is. You know, let's talk about. Explain to the people how you have been fired from 4 different jobs.
Ooh.
In law enforcement, and all of a sudden you wind up on the district attorney, in the district attorney office as an investigator, and your paperwork went from saying fired to involuntary resignation, fired, involuntary resignation. Let's explain how this paperwork got juggled.
Okay.
For her behalf.
Oh. Come for Big Jeff. He
You know.
coming back.
Let's talk about that. You know, let's speak on something that's going to make sense. See, that makes sense to me. It don't make sense to me for her to try to sit on a witness stand and make the insinuation that they left something behind, and the only persons who could have gotten it was me and Garfield. And you know that's a damn lie. And you know that's a lie. First of all, stupid. Why would you think that I would take something from my child? I ain't never took nothing from him before. Why would you think that? Why do you think I'm his protector at all costs? Because I don't lie to my children. I don't try to deceive my children. I don't try to deceive nobody, really, being honest with you. So when you speak on Big Jeff, you need to speak on Big Jeff in a proper manner, young lady.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on my shit. Put some respect on it, because I'm gonna make you live up to what you say about me. I want you to prove it. Let's see you prove that you probably ain't the one took that watch.
Ooh.
Let's ask your man. Let's ask the man that you sleep with, did you take the watch?
Uh-oh. Lord have mercy.
You know, because it's traceable. The watch is traceable. Now be careful. Be careful. I'll find it. I can find it. And I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. So talk about a lot of the other things that you all probably took out of my son's house of value that y'all didn't inventory.
Ooh.
Because he know what he had. He know what he had. Let's explain how you all wrote the number $179,800 currency on the paperwork that you all left behind for inventory purpose, saying what all you took out the house, and we haven't heard no prosecutors, we haven't heard Vivarita, we haven't heard nobody speak on the money that was taken out the house. Let us hear that.
Let's say split
You
it
all
up.
took the money out of the bank bands and left the bank bands on the counter. How smart can you all be? Everything that you all took out the house and tried to charge my son with it as being illegal, you left all the evidence laying out on the counters. And we took pictures of it. We took pictures of it. You all charged a man with the Georgia Controlled Substance Act for another person's medication. How many, let us see the lab report from the medication that y'all took, and let the lab report show that all of it was an illegal drug that was being sold. Let's make it make sense. We're going to talk about everything that was left at the house and took out the house. Let's talk about it all. Because Mr. William has no reason whatsoever under God to even attempt to take something from his child that his child will give him.
Period.
Y'all got it twisted.
Beyond.
Y'all got it twisted. My son is that type of person. My son is that type of person. You all are trying to press a body of a young man who I sympathize with his family for them even allowing you all to even use his death as a weapon to try to convict some people that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. All because you hear people talking. All because of what somebody says to y'all. Or what somebody has told y'all, dummies. Under false pretenses. You all are trying to put killings on men that haven't killed nobody. And the sad part is, y'all damn near know who did the crime. You know, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Let's talk about the shit. The case is coming to an end. You still haven't proved anything. You all haven't proved the most important part of this case, which is RICO. You all haven't proved not for not 1 minute that these crimes that you all are accusing these kids of committing was done as a game. was done as them being together as a gang. Nothing you all have proven on the RICO has been favor. The only favor you all have gotten on this RICO charge is the fact that these guys just said they tired of it and took a plea deal. That's the biggest let out y'all could have gotten. And you all are so greedy on these guys taking plea deals to where you all have went and trumped up y'all own plea deals and added to the plea deals what y'all wanted to say, how y'all wanted to go, how the charges got to be handled, and what the time on the charges are. Really? And it's all because you all are doing something that has been being done since the beginning of time, and that's people taking pleas to get out of jail.
Exactly.
Out of desperation.
You all know it's not desperation. It's that the game that they know they playing is they know these guys want to get out of jail.
Yeah, they desperate to get
We're
out.
out.
You know what I'm saying? So now you take that and you use it to your advantage. I applaud y'all for that. You supposed to do that. If you feel like a person is not going to stand up because they want to go home and they don't want to have to keep going back and forth, to hopefully hope that y'all can agree to something on their behalf. So you use it to your advantage. And that's what's happened in this case. That's not just this case, in all cases. In all cases, when a person take a plea deal, the state gets greedy and asks for everything but their asses to be put on paper for their advantage and your disadvantage. How can you even make the insinuation on a plea to say we want a man to leave what he was bred and fed at, been all his life, not to be able to reside in the city that he's from because of what the fuck y'all think? But at the same token, you reward yourself for borrowing a man from his damn city and say, but you got to come back to this city, the city that you're borrowed from, and do a free-ass concert every year on top of 100 hours of community damn service. What the fuck? Are you serious? And then you charged him to get out of jail. You put a price tag on this man's plea. And he's the only one you've done like that. Because y'all trying to get as much out of him as possible. And then even at the end of the plea, your greedy ass is still turn around and ask the judge to damn award y'all his possessions too.
Jesus.
You got to be fucking kidding. You all took full advantage of the situation. Like y'all do. Like y'all do. And then you put a woman on the witness stand who's corrupted from her shoe to the top of her head.
Ooh.
To be the one to close it out. To close, y'all put a woman who's been insubordinate 4 times as a closing witness in a case who I don't think have told the truth about nothing in life.
Nothing in life.
Nothing. Really? Really? You all better be glad a plea was taken. You all should be washing you all should be eating steak and lobster tails every day for a man taking a plea because you were free. You was free from a lot. You was free from a lot. But you are so ungrateful to the fact that, well, you all tried to take full advantage of any and everything y'all could think of to try to put on a plea deal for him. And if that's not inhuman, if that's not prejudice, if that's not, you taking advantage of a situation, what is it? This whole case was based on prejudice. This whole case has been nothing but prejudice. This whole case has been nothing but hearsay. This whole case has been nothing but assumptions. This whole case has been 100% bogus since the grand jury signed the indictment. And the taxpayers have paid the price tremendously for it. But the county and the city has grossed a killing, have netted a killing off of this case.
Yep.
To where y'all gonna get a whole lot of shit built but a jail. Y'all gonna get new houses built. Y'all gonna get new cars bought. Children gonna have college tuitions paid for. Everything is gonna benefit you all, but it's not gonna benefit the city or the county. Not one bit. Nor is it gonna benefit the state of Georgia unless they file a RICO. If they file a RICO against the Fulton County District Attorney Office, I can see some of those names that'll be in that RICO. Even some names that we haven't heard being in that RICO. I can see it. So the fight is not over. The fight is not over. We're still in battle. We're still in battle. We still have loved ones sitting in jail, waiting for somebody to do something illegal toward them to prosecute them too. It's a shame when you got district attorneys that are corrupt, that are playing a game with your loved one's life. But it's a double shame when you see judges coercing it and playing a role in it. How can you win? How can you have a fair trial? How can our loved ones feel like they're in anything but injustice? How can they? My kids, my family has the right, and I mean just what I'm saying, the right to have a problem with law enforcement when their mother and father has been wrongly abused, tormented, and put in accidental situations with law enforcement, and they have witnessed it. But yet and still, the mother and father that they have tell our children, you can't make that all officers. In every situation, that's just like a job. In every job, you got people who you like and people who you don't like. Mm-hmm. In every job, you got people who you can get along with, people you can't get along with.
Yep.
In every job, you have somebody on the job that's good and somebody on the job that's corrupt. So you can't hold it against everybody. You can't. And it's sad because you got officers who are good at heart, man, and have the respect of people for being people, not to do wild shit to them, not to make things hard for them. Mm-hmm. But they have to work with a person who they knowingly know is corrupted as hell. That's a hard job situation to be in. And I'm saying it's not just in law enforcement, it's on an everyday average Joe job.
Right.
You got corrupt people everywhere, in all aspects of, as we say, corporate America.
Especially government, right. Especially at the VA too.
So, it's sad that the system is like that, but ain't too much we can do about it. But try to make sure we can get the right people in the place.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We will not. One thing I found out about working in corporate America is we do not want to vote anybody in as a leader for leadership and making sure that things be done right, job-wise, for job protection or job legalities. Who's going to stand up? If it's a person who's going to stand up, hey, man, they're not trying to let them be the head of the association.
Nope.
Well,
The head of the association is for cowards only. If you have a voice and you're the head of an association, eventually you're going to wind up in a situation. Mr. Paul Howard, I sympathize with him for them putting him in that situation. But our district attorney did it. She played a role in it. Mm-hmm. And they got him out of there.
I wish they hadn't now.
And they got him out of there. And we fell for the okie doke. Mm-hmm. I voted for Paul Howard. But we fell for the okie doke. The people who had the power fell for the okie doke. And now they're mad. Now they're upset. Now they feel like it's time to get her out of there. That's one of the notorious gangs in Georgia right now, the district attorney office. And they have active participants that we all know now, that we all have seen in action now, along with the ones that we haven't seen that's been in other courtrooms on anything that has something to do with YSL. Those are the people y'all haven't seen yet. Their RICO will be far worse than the RICO that they are trying to prosecute. Trust me.
Yeah, I'll see what
because
Trump
they're
come.
doing a lot of underhanded stuff.
Wait till January.
Playing with the money, swapping the money, giving the money to certain people, and you got people who work in the office that deserves to make the money, but they being put in different ranks because they are not playing a role in the corruption. We got a young lady that was put in, she was put in records when she had a position to oversee programs. She blew the whistle. She started going against the grain, so they put her in records and had her sorting papers to the fact that what they told her each piece of paper that she had to sort, they wanted her to do it in alphabetical order and by dates.
They gave her a dummy mission.
And this young woman said in her hearing, she said, they even went as far as to tell me to put all of the paperwork in order. And I was seeing paperwork that that dated back to the 1990s.
They gave her a dummy mission. Yeah.
Really? all because she wouldn't participate in the corruption.
That's how they do. Or they'll find a reason to wrongfully terminate you like they did. Like when I spoke up at the VA about them doing corruption to those veterans' paperwork. You know, that's how they do. Once you speak up about corruption, you will become a target.
Yeah, because everybody lying in their pockets. See, you dipping in somebody's pocket now. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can sit on a witness stand and say, my father taught me long ago to always have petty cash in the household at all times. And, you know, because that's a must. But yet and still, you try to prosecute my son for having his money in the house, some of his money in his house.
Okay.
And then y'all took his money.
And say you got it. What?
Y'all took his money and said it was drug money. And y'all know for the, you know, I'm not going to say y'all couldn't swear on a stack of Bible because y'all will tell a lie on the Bible. Y'all lie on the Bible. I'm not going to even do God like that. They allow on the Bible. You know,
It's not fair though.
We have seen that. You impeach witnesses that you all had for, you know, court, and just because they wasn't fully agreeing with everything that you all wanted them to agree with,
Right.
you all impeached them. But you put people on the witness stand. Every witness that came from law enforcement, everybody knew that they was telling a lie. Everybody knew that they was lying on the strength of prosecution. And it was sad because you people started bringing in witnesses and you couldn't ask them but 3 damn questions. And then you say, no further question. All you asked them was what they did when they came to the crime scene. What did they do with the shit they got at the crime scene? And who they had to turn it into. And then you'll tell them, I don't have no more questions. What was the purpose of them being there in the beginning?
Just a stall tactic.
All of these stall tactics. All these stall tactics. You put together a pretty good story though. Got to give y'all that credit. Some of the stories y'all were putting together, putting together pretty good, but you couldn't prove them.
3 years. Good too.
You couldn't prove them.
3 years.
Really, if I would have been a juror, I'd have felt insulted. Because a lot of things that that they were saying to try to make the jurors feel like these guys were really guilty of what they was trying to say they were guilty of. They was really making the jurors look like they were some assholes.
We about to find out. We about to find out.
You know, you all really were making the jurors look like they were ignorant. But that's my opinion. You know, because the whole case was based on that, wasn't it? Opinions. But that's my opinion.
Yep.
The jurors should have felt insulted to be sitting there listening to you all make up all of these ridiculous stories about these young men as if they was idiots. And now that this case has came to an end, you all can write a proper letter to introduce to the jurors. Let's make it make sense. Let's make it make sense. You know, you don't show witnesses. What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of not showing the witness? If I was a defendant and I was in a high-profile case like that, I would demand that all the witnesses be shown. I would demand that.
They found him anyway, like they just found, what's her name?
Viverito.
Yeah, they just found her.
She ain't hard to find. She's in the streets of Atlanta.
Yeah, they just found her. Social
She's in
media.
the streets of Atlanta. People, these guys been knowing her. You know, and that's something that startled me. How can she ask not to be seen when you listening to wiretaps?
Yeah.
You listening to jail calls, and these guys are identifying her as Miss V. Who don't know her?
Yeah.
And that's because she has a street rep. Anybody who works in an office and that's not playing a role in the streets, you know, supposedly not playing a role in the streets. Let's say that. How do everybody know you? Other than when you was a probation officer. And I think you lost that job. I think you got fired from that job.
Mm-hmm. You all can go to at Thugger Daily. He posted it.
I know a young man who was one of Marissa Viverito's probationers who she arrested for violation. And he hadn't violated anything. And she violated him just so she can ask him about a performance he had at a club with Woody. And he couldn't tell her nothing about Woody. She arrested him. She kept him in jail. And she wrote in his paperwork that the reason of him, one of the reasons of him being arrested for violating probation was because he did a video in LA with a convicted felon. And come to find out, the guy that she arrested him and accused him of wasn't even a convicted felon. And at the end, like she said, she told the truth. She told the truth one time. I heard that. When she said when she write a report, she write it lengthless. She write it lengthy. She do that because in his report when she wrote it on him, at the end of that report she said, and the other reason, one of the other reasons why he was arrested was because she felt like he had information about the YSL If gang beef. She wrote it just like that.
And that was the real reason, though.
And that was the real reason. So she's not credible for nothing.
I mean, Max proved that this week.
She's not credible for nothing. But be careful, people. She's out there.
Yep.
She could be lurking on your street.
And look on what's the date
She could be lurking in your neighborhood. She could be lurking in your studio.
on
The internet.
Look
She
on
could be lurking on the internet.
look on Twitter on Thugger Daily on the November the 19th post, and you guys will see her picture on the November the 19th post.
How can you not want to be seen when everybody know you anyway? People got pictures of you. Probably got a whole lot of things of you.
Ooh.
So we just gonna call a spade a spade. This is the biggest gang in Atlanta, people. Trust me. This is the biggest gang in Atlanta, and they are showing it ruthlessly. If gang is not from Atlanta, Georgia. If gang is from Inglewood, California. So Google Funny Willis and look at where she's from. That's why they putting so much emphasis on the If gang. And if that don't make sense to you, we can't make sense. So this is Big Jeff.
This is Shanita, Absolute Justice Now.
And we're live at No Days Off Radio Productions. And we're coming to you straight from the top on the show that's going to be one of the biggest shows in the world in a minute.
That's right.
And the name of it is
Nothing But the Truth.
We out.
We out.